Welcome to another episode. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you for all of our listeners to be able to hear this. We really want to talk about how the world is working for us versus against us. And I know for me, this took me a long time to understand and to get to be into a place where life was working for me, because for many a years, I really felt like life was definitely not working for me and very much against me. How is how does this topic land for you?
Well, yeah, same. Like I spent a lot of my life believing like the world was hard, it was set against me, and it's taken a journey to get to a place where I realized, oh, actually, I can see it completely different. And it's the same things happen, and it's the way I see them that's different. And
Completely.
I was like, sure, I had braces, like life was hard. And at one point I decided, okay, I don't have to see it that way. I have good friends. I can like my life, and it just changes everything. When I was thinking about this topic and a story to share, like one came to mind. I was working in sales, and I used to get biscuits for my clients. And I was on my way to see one, and I called them up. I said, "Put the kettle on. I'm on my way. I'll bring the biscuits." And then I stopped at the shop because I didn't actually have biscuits. I was planning to get them on the way. And I realized I didn't have my purse on me. I'd left it at home, but I'd already told them that I had these biscuits. And so I panicked a bit. I didn't know what to do because it was a small thing, but I didn't want to look like I just made it up. Because I genuinely was like, I'm going to stop and get biscuits. So I have biscuits. Anyway, so I found in my bag a pack of sellotape that was unopened that I bought a few days later in like, another town. And I found this corner shop and I went in with this pack of sellotape that wasn't from them, found a pack of biscuits of the same price, and went to this guy at the counter and said, I really need these biscuits. I will trade you this brand new unopened pack of sellotape for these biscuits. They're about the same price. Like you make a couple of pennies. Um, will you do it? And he just looked at me like I was very strange. I was like, you can sell it. Like they sell stationery there, so it wouldn't have been a hard sell. They could have just put it on the shelf. And he said, yeah, okay, fine. So I went out with my biscuits. He got his sellotape, and I went off, saw the customers, and they were none the wiser. We had tea and biscuits. It was all fine. And I've told a few people this story, and they just laugh at me. They think, like, who does that? And why I thought about that when I thought about this topic was that, like, I had a choice then. I could have decided, like, do I like figure something out and ask for what I need? Or do I just kind of admit defeat and just go and say, oh, I'm really sorry, I don't have biscuits? And like the latter wouldn't have been a massive issue. And in the grand scheme of things, it's not like this massive like breakthrough, but it's just that little choice of I believe that the universe is for me. I believe that people are generally helpful. They want to help you out. They want to be there for you. And because that was my mindset, I got what I wanted and needed in that moment. And without that mindset, you don't always get what you want and need.
I first of all, kudos to you for being resourceful, to being clever enough. But I love like the whole principle of the fact that you wanted to show up with these biscuits to your client and you were going to stop at nothing to make this happen, even though you had forgotten your purse. So I just absolutely love it. So it is being resourceful and seeing things a certain way. Like life can happen to you and life can happen to me, and we can have totally different viewpoints and takes on it. And I think that's the piece that both you and I are talking about, where our former selves used to really see the life and the world that way, where it was one of these things of like, it's not working for me, it's really working against me. But now our viewpoint has shifted and we've removed a lot of the clutter that has been blocking us. And we see all of these really fantastic things that happen. And it's only a shift in mindset. And I think it's brilliant. So thank you for sharing that. That's so creative and resourceful. And I just really like that you went for it and you found like an even trade. You found something that would work for both people and they took you up on the deal. And then you got to show up with the biscuits in hand. So perfect.
Yeah, and like what's coming up now is this like the even trade. So I think people assume that if you're always asking for something, then you're like, I don't know what the word is, like you're gonna get annoying. You're like people don't like to ask for things. And like I was in church on Sunday and this lady comes up, she's like the grandma of this little kid, and she's like, I'm really sorry to ask, but I've forgotten a nappy and it's an emergency. Do you have one? I was like, yeah, of course, got her a nappy. And she was like, thank you so much, and went off. And it's just like a small interaction where I was really happy that I could help. It's a nappy, like it's not a big deal. She was so grateful that we got her out of a sticky situation. And both parties left happier from that interaction. And I think that's the case in life is people love helping people and
Yes.
people love receiving help. So
Yes.
we have this like taboo, like, oh, don't ask for help, do it all on your own. And actually, it's a disservice to what actually makes people feel good.
I actually, as you were saying that, I said yes, but then I paused and reflected internally. And I actually don't agree with we always love receiving the help because sometimes, and I'm calling myself out on this one, there have been times where like it's hard for me to accept help. But
Mm.
that's just the narrative and the story that I'm making up in my mind of like how this is inconveniencing someone else and da 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 da. So, but at the core of everything, we really, as humans, love to be able to help one another. That is what we are built for. That is what we are meant to do on this earth. And I really think I just wanted to
Mm.
retouch that because I'm like, oh, my former self was like, no, I didn't. I never liked help. But now as I have aged or not even necessarily age, I've grown as a human in the sense that like I do appreciate that help. And I know at the core feels personally really good for me to help someone else. So I know that I'm giving someone a disservice by not giving them the space to help me in return. So I just wanted to kind of pinpoint that because I wanted to catch
Yeah,
myself
yeah.
on that.
Yeah, no, and I'm so glad you did because actually it's really hard to ask for help
Yes.
for the majority of people. I think
Yeah.
I had like I grew up with a mum who like encouraged us to help everyone. Like if we were at the supermarket, she'd be like, "Oh, that old woman looks like she needs your help. Like off you go." And we'd just be sent out to do all these deeds. And because of that, I grew up thinking, "Oh, it's okay to ask for help. It's like it's normal." Um, so I'm like really grateful that I have that, and I know, especially like in the mum community, and I mean probably lots of others, to ask for help like makes people feel all sorts of things.
Yes. Yes. So, kind of going back to the subject to make sure that we're staying focused on it just slightly is another phrase for me. I'm actually taking us right back off, but not really. So, like life is always working for us
Mm.
versus against us. And one of the phrases that I have learned through a mentor was that we live in a world where we're trying to get through versus how it's working for us. And that one has always stuck with me. That's where this kind of like I've started to come more open and accepting of this. But it's really interesting if you listen to people talk. It's like, oh, I got to get through this week, or like work's going on, and it's like, oh, I got to get through this, or something hard in their personal life is going on. Oh, I got to get through this. And it's really interesting when we can catch that. Like, no, it's actually working for you. You don't really necessarily see that it's working for you. And personally, I can relate myself where I have gone through a tremendous amount of grief growing up. And for me, life was always like, I have to get through this. I have to get through this. I have to see these points rather than life was working for me. Now, granted, if you would have told me this back way back when, I would have probably given you a middle finger because I would not have taken it well. And but I can see now in retrospect what that grief and going through, that's interesting that I say that, but going through that experience has taught me how to be and sit with someone in their hardship and their time. It is interesting when we can have a different perspective of like instead of getting through something and getting to a space of like what can I get from this or like how is this working out for me really changes the dynamic.
Mm. Yeah, and you said if someone would have said that to you, you'd give them the middle finger. Like, it's fair. So, what is it that, like, people that are in this that are like, oh, I'm just getting through, like, stuff's going on and it's heavy? Like, what is it that they need to hear, do you think?
I mostly just a simple like this sucks or yeah, that's really hard. Just a real like acknowledgement of what they're going through. Because when you can like sit and pause in those moments of the hardship, you and be acknowledged and witnessed. We spend so much time not being acknowledged and witnessed or seen and heard, however it's phrased to you. We just like it does feel like you have to get through it. But when someone can actually see and witness, you can then pause and then like, oh, okay. Not that it makes anything better, but like just being seen in your hardship really does start to shift things for you.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. And it's like making it more okay to be in it rather than I have to like heavily trudge through. Like,
Yes.
I can sit in it and I guess, and then know that eventually I will get out of it and it'll be okay. And it's okay that it's hard right now.
Yeah. Yes. This is just another space that I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but it is we always are trying to fix people. We are not giving them the dignity to be themselves in their pain. And so when we are trying to fix someone, like saying stuff like, oh, it's going to be okay, which I know that we mean well, is actually really hurtful because people just want to be witnessed. People just want to be seen for what is currently going on. So when we can actually sit with them and just be like, yeah, that really sucks. Yeah, that's got to be really hard right now. It gives them a moment to breathe rather than have to put up the armor and to like fight back. And I understand it sounds counterintuitive because it's like, yes, it'll get better, but that's not what they need to hear right now. They need someone to be there with them in those moments. And so that allows space for them to move it because we're whole and complete and no one needs to fix us. We just need to be like walk alongside them, if that makes sense. So I'm sure it does, but
Yeah. And then, and how does that then relate to our topic of the universe is working for us?
it is working for us when we're there in compassion with one another. Because when we have compassion towards our fellow mankind, they can do it in return. And so it is working for us. Like we're meant here to have relationships with one another and be there for people, not to fix people into who we want them to be. So like that's how it's working, like how we can have it work for us is to like allow people to be themselves and just walk alongside them.
Mm. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
What came to mind when thinking about this topic was the phrase that's restored my faith in humanity. Um, and for some reason, it just really like irritates me. And I think it's because it's the assumption that things are bad, the world's inherently wrong, and things are all like awful. And then you see this one thing that's like, oh, it's restored my faith because my faith was shattered. And actually, I think there's so much good in the world, and there's so many people that want things to be better and that are doing things every day that don't get shouted about, and like people just doing their thing. And it makes sense that the things that sell headlines are the dramatic things when things go wrong. And I think you can easily focus on that and like
Mm.
the world being bad, and having that perspective is just is heavy. And it, and like we've talked about this before, like the more that you see something, the more that you focus on something, that becomes your world and your reality, and you miss all the other stuff. And I saw a phrase once that was like, when things go wrong, like look for the helpers, because there's always helpers. So there's people that when shops get looted, there's like tens of hundreds of more people coming out the next day with their sweeping brushes to help, not wanting any fame or anything, just like these people need my help, I'm there. And you see that everywhere. There are helpers. And
Yeah.
the more we start to look for the helpers, look for the people doing good, look for the genuine, like little bits of kindness throughout the day and the week, the more you'll see. And the more you'll feel lighter and happier and want to spread more yourself.
Yeah. I think what kind of popped up into my head as you were sharing this, like that phrase, like I've probably said it at some point. I mean, I'm human, I'm sure I did. And I also think, what if we were, instead of being like, my faith in humanity is restored, be like, oops, I guess I forgot for a while. Like, and take ownership of like, it was our mindset that really kept us from seeing what it was. And we forgot. It's not that humanity
Mm.
gives us hope again. We are now focusing on the other thing. So it's like a very tiny tweak of like, oh yeah, I was stuck in the mindset that like everything was against me versus everything's for me. And so that's kind of what popped in as you were sharing that. But yeah, it's that I get the phrase in the sense, but like there is a little bit of toxicity behind the energy of that phrase. So thank you for bringing that to the table because yeah, I can see how that can really be irksome.
Yeah. And I love your reframe. Like that's perfect.
I
And
wish I could do that like that in my life all the time. And sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. It really depends on the space, but it is those small reframes. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
yeah,
off.
no, and it is, and it's like, and it's so human. That's what I wanted to say.
Yes.
Like, it's it's not this like enlightened versus not enlightened person. It's a like we have this negative pull because evolutionarily it kept us safe. Can't say that word. And like it's what would keep us safe. If we assume
Yes.
danger, we're less likely
Yep.
to fall into the trap of the danger. And
Yeah.
now, so like it's a constant reminding of ourselves, like, okay, that danger's not there. The world is inherently good. People are inherently good. I'm going to see the good in people. It's not about trusting everyone and getting yourselves into trouble, but it's about seeing people as like good and the world as for you.
Let me ask this to you because this is the other thing that's coming up as you're saying that is for when I'm working with clients and they share something of someone, yada, 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 is like hurting them in some way. I always see everybody as good in those moments. Like, I don't see them automatically as the bad guy or whatever phrase you want to say, the bad woman, whatever the case might be. But I see them for like, it's not about them, it's more about their perception of them. So it's like, I always, when people share things, I'm always looking at like, I believe at the core of me that everybody is doing the best that they can with what they've got. And so kind of going back to your point of like the world is good and like that's what's happening and it is working for us. As I'm saying that, does that really bring anything up? Does that kind of like, are you in agreement with that? Do you see like that aspect? Because I know that took a lot of training in what I currently do to be able to have that viewpoint because that was not my viewpoint back in the day.
Yeah. And I think it is what, like an important thing we do as coaches because,
Yeah,
and it's why people have coaches and not just go to their friends because their friends are always going to be on your
yeah,
side. Yeah, that
yes,
person's a bitch. That person did this, like he's horrible, blah, blah, blah. Like they're going to get involved in your story. They're going to see you're hurting and they're going to be with you in putting the blame on someone else.
yeah,
And as coaches, I guess the questions we're asking is, okay, what's your role in this?
right, right.
Like what are you, where are you putting expectations on people? Where are you um like seeing things in a different way and it's a missed perspective rather than someone doing something to someone else? And yeah, as you like, that's the training we've gone through, which as coaches, we're like in that mindset. And then obviously as humans, we can slip right back into that
Totally.
wasn't me, and they've done this to me.
Completely, completely, because we get really invested in our own stories.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, cool. Um, I think this has been a fantastic topic. I think there's so many like rich gems that people can take from this, that pausing and realizing life isn't working against you. Life is actually working for you in all ways in life. And so where it starts is your own mindset to really be able to see how it is working for you rather than jumping to the conclusion that it isn't working for you. Do you
Yeah.
have any final thoughts yourself?
And I think you said that perfectly. I
Okay.
think, yeah, what we want them to say out loud, the world is working for me.
Yeah.
And then
Awesome.
see what happens and let us know.
Yeah.
All right.